This is single-handedly the most valuable video I will ever make. Now, most reselling videos and courses teach you how to quickly make £20 profit, but I'm going to show you how you can actually turn reselling into your business. It could be a side hustle where you make an extra £500 every month, or if you want to get into it full-time and even replace your current job, you are in the right place. I am unfortunately quite old. I've been reselling since I was 13 and 14 years of age. My first proper flip was this really old hoodie. I paid around £20 for it, cleaned it up, made it look prettier, got some good photos and sold it for £35. I made roughly £10 profit. Fast forward to now in 2026, our reselling business consistently does £100,000 a month in sales. We have a full team, we employ people, and it is now a proper business. So this is my blueprint. Everything I've learned from that entire journey, exactly what you can do to now. Exposing everything from how I find stock, how I actually find suppliers, best places to sell, how to make social media content, what systems you need, and how to eventually scale from a reselling in your bedroom, just like I did, actually my parents' room, into a full profitable £100,000 a month business. Now, first things first, you need to start. And even if you're starting with £0, you're in luck. Do not start Googling wholesalers. Sell something you already own, but you don't need. Go around your house, look for old games, old trainers, old clothes, stuff you don't need anymore. However rubbish you think it is, I promise you, you will be able to sell it. Clean it, take some decent pictures of it, and sell the shit out of it. Put it on Vinted, eBay, Gumtree, whatnot, wherever you want, any platform physically possible. And this is going to help you create your first 10, 20, 30, 40 pound budget, and then the actual game starts. What I really recommend doing, guys, is using Google Lens on your phone, reverse image search whatever item you want to sell, and that's the best way to find how much it's worth. And then if you don't use it, sell it, reinvest it, and start reselling. Now, the first hurdle is, what do you actually buy? But look, the biggest beginner mistake I see every single day from young resellers is they're trying to sell and know everything. For example, they try and get into sportswear, vintage, streetwear, designer, watches, Pokemon, sneakers. Bro, pick one lane, find a niche you actually have a genuine passion for, because you're going to need to learn about this industry, and the best way to do that is having a genuine interest in that product or niche. So for me, I started with streetwear, and I'm still in streetwear today. Why? Because I love it. If it was something I didn't like as much, like Pokemon, which I still do enjoy, but I don't have a deep desire to be in it all the time, I wouldn't have made as much money. When I was a kid, I used to look at Supreme and Palace every single day. I would watch my friends when I was like 14, 15 in school on the school laptops try and buy Supreme every Thursday from Drops, and I always wanted to learn how to do it, so I did it. But before you buy anything, don't just buy anything you like the look of. You need to ask yourself these three simple questions. It's what I do every single time. 1, will it actually sell? 2, what am I actually going to make in terms of profit? And 3, how quickly do I get my money back? Because a £5 item that sits on Vinted, eBay, or Depop for 6-7 months and eventually sells for £10 in that 6th month is completely pointless. So what you want to do, ask ChatGPT or Claude, probably a bit better, or Google Trends, and simply look for data before you start buying. So for example, look at the trends on Supreme, look at the trends on Palace, look at the trends on Ralph Lauren, things you actually want to buy. Look if they're trending on the secondary market. You can also use Google Lens for this to reverse image search particular products, but also use eBay sold filter as well. So you basically just go onto eBay, search up the brand you want to look at, see how it's performing on the resale market, and that will give you a good indication if you should get into that brand or that niche. Brands that we focus on in 2026, this is really exposing a lot, by the way. Ralph Lauren, Supreme, Palace, vintage Nike, new Nike, that is cheap, so outlet Nike. We completely avoid shoes unless they're either outlet or pre-owned grails. We don't buy any new shoes anymore. Vintage Adidas, vintage Umbro, football shirts always booming, football apparel, so not just the shirts, the actual garments are flying. Vintage Barcelona, vintage Real Madrid, vintage Premier League teams doing really strongly for us. In the UK, when the football season starts, brands like Stone Island, CP Company, Burberry, because there's a huge culture around those type of garments associated with football in the UK. Now, the biggest question in this video, how do you actually find stock to resell? Or I should phrase it, how do you find suppliers? I honestly get this DM about 50 to 100 times every single day. It's honestly insane. It is like gold dust, this information. And I'm telling you, if you are just getting started, the best thing you can do right now, get onto Vinted, sort by newest listed, search up brands you like, cross-reference what you're seeing on Vinted to eBay sold filter, see what they're selling for on eBay. If they're cheaper on Vinted, buy them on Vinted, then sell them on eBay or back onto Vinted. It's really that simple. Learn the market, buy on Vinted. Vinted is so saturated with stock right now, with people who unfortunately don't have any money. They're trying to make money, just like exactly where I was and probably where some of you guys are now. People are just trying to sell whatever they have to get through to the weekend, to get through life. So it is tricky, but that gives you so much opportunity to buy stock that's cheap. People ultimately had more money a few years ago compared to 2026. They were able to buy items for high retail. Since then, that retail demand has dropped, so they're having to resort to sell on places like Vinted. So you can pick up designer items, streetwear, vintage stuff, sneakers, so many shoes for really, really cheap prices. And the best thing about it, people are still buying them. They just don't have as much money to spend on the high retail, so they're looking at pre-owned and secondary market stuff, i.e. what we're selling, and they buy them from places like Vinted. So you can buy from Vinted and sell straight back onto Vinted, but it's getting it at a lower cost, making it look prettier, getting good photos, cleaning the item up, and then selling it on for more. It's the middle ground where you're giving your potential buyer the service. That's what's valuable here, folks. Honestly, we sell thousands and thousands of items every single month. We did a stream last Sunday where we gave away a Rolex and sold £30,000 in stock. We still buy stock from Vinted. That's how overpowered it is. The best time to buy on Vinted is on Sunday afternoons, because that's when most people are active and selling stuff they don't want. They basically do wardrobe clear-outs on a Sunday. I am such a nerd. I don't know why I know this, but it's true. You don't need to join a Vinted monitor group. You don't need to do anything like that. Just start practicing, start buying, use your brain. There's so much to go around on Vinted at the moment, so be smart, get at it. Another great way to find stock is to basically reach out to other resellers, so people like me actually supply others. The best thing about it, when people buy in bulk, obviously we can really reduce our margins because you're shifting such a large volume of stock. Doesn't have to be me, don't have to buy from me, whatever. So go through social media, Facebook groups, Instagram, WhatsApp, reselling communities, and in these places you want to search for specific terms such as vintage wholesalers, Ralph Lauren wholesale, streetwear wholesale. You really need to do your due diligence on this, so make sure you background check whoever you're messaging, but it's a really, really good option. Reach out to people you like, who you watch, people like me. Now, there are actual wholesalers that exist in the UK. I'm not a wholesaler, but there are actual wholesalers that exist in the UK. The best way to find a wholesaler, there's so many, I'm not going to list loads of names, honestly, to go on TikTok and Instagram, search them up on there, search up actual reviews from people, not their own content, search up actual reviews from other people unboxing their stuff. Make sure it isn't branded, make sure it isn't promoted, make sure it's not from like an influencer, and then honestly go off that. That is by far the best way to find wholesalers. If you're just getting started, I wouldn't even look at wholesale just yet. A few £1,000 for sure, different story. Reach out to them, look for local wholesalers. You want to go and try and do a hand pick if you can, where you go around their warehouse and you pick out stuff personally that you actually want. Make sure you avoid wholesalers that make you spend the minimum like £300, £400, £500. That's not worth your time. Just go on Vinted if that's the case. You can also use something called Fleek. This is basically a marketplace for wholesalers. Be careful, get in touch with them. They can be pretty helpful. We've used these a couple of times to get Ralph Lauren in and some Burberry bits, but it's a bit sus, to be honest. I think they are trying to improve their authenticity process. But even if you don't buy from Fleek directly, you can have a look at the marketplace and you get a bit of an understanding of market prices. It's naturally good research. We also source an awful amount from Japan. Buy streetwear from Japan, we buy accessories from Japan, we buy loads of Supreme from Japan, we buy brand new bits from Asia, all 100% authentic. One of the best things from Japan is authenticity is usually pretty strong. If you compare it to somewhere like Vinted in the UK, it's literally non-comparable. Like the ratio of real to fake is crazy from these Japanese sites because they don't really deal with reps and stuff too much. Also, their pre-owned market is amazing because their culture, they don't believe in wearing stuff like twice. Like it's crazy. They don't like having pre-owned stuff. So it's cheaper, it's immaculate condition as well. You basically need to use a middleman or a proxy when you're buying from Japan. So something like Buy is pretty good. You can just search them up online or use Reddit. Just literally search up best middleman for buying from Japan. However, you do need to keep in mind you will have to pay a big shipping fee, a big customs fee, and you have to pay VAT on the packages when they're coming in from Asia. I will do a full video on buying from Japan at some point soon, but definitely look into it. I probably would look at Vinted first before getting into anything like that. Once you find a system that works and makes you a little bit profitable, keep going back and going and going and going. Keep consistent, keep it rotating. And then eventually that's how you kind of build and build and build. It's like an anthill. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Probably the joint most or maybe second most asked question I get all the time is how to sell the stock you buy. How to sell. How do you sell stock? Now, I see so many people reach out to me saying my website's not selling. Why on earth are you on a website in 2026? It's so easy. You don't need to do any marketing on platforms like Vinted, eBay, Depop, Reddit communities, Facebook communities. You want to be selling in all of these places because it's free freaking marketing, guys. Don't use Shopify yet. It costs an awful amount of money. We spend thousands of pounds every single month to market ourselves online, and we have 2 million followers across the board. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So don't start building your own website off the back. It's very, very tricky. just sell on Vinted and eBay and Depop initially. Try live selling as well, places like Whatnot, Tilt, TikTok. I'm a partner of Whatnot. Whatnot is amazing. Use that. Presentation is the most important thing when it comes to any how to sell question. Use your iPhone or Google or Android phone, whatever it may be. This is the process. Get an item, wash the item, then iron the item or steam the item, lay the item flat, get some fake or good natural lighting. I never use the flash. Always try and mimic as much natural lighting as possible. I don't like hanging my items up. I'm always a flat lay kind of man. Either get good pictures of a nice background like some wooden floor like we've got here, or if you're shooting in your mum's front room carpet, because that's where the good lighting is, use an app called Photo Room, £10 a month or something like that, where it will automatically crop out the background and you can make it look like it's been shot in a studio, or just add an AI nice background. It's really, really good. We still use Photo Room to this day. I genuinely use it. Lots of pros and professionals and people who make a lot of money in this space use platforms like Photo Room. Now, the pictures goes hand in hand with making a good listing. Add a really good description. Don't go into too much detail in the title and description. You just want to say the size, the condition, if it's good or not. I like to say 100% authentic. I am speedrunning this, by the way, guys, so make freaking notes or rewatch it. I always love to show a close-up picture of the label because authenticity and legit checking is such a massive thing online at the moment. Everyone's so scared everything's fake. And you will literally lose buyers if you don't show the label, because people are like, oh, why are they not showing the label? It must be fake, even if it's completely real. In the description, make sure to add things like fast shipping. If someone does message you guys on Vinted or whatever platform you're trying to sell on, be fucking nice. Counter their offers, but be nice. If they're shooting you a too low offer, give them the FOMO effect, the fear of missing out. Tell them, hi man, someone's offered me X, the price you're happy with. I think he's going to buy soon, but first come, first serve. Say something like that. Be nice, but still give them an offer that they're like, oh, I need to buy now. Do you know what I mean? Get at it. Next up, we have the money. This is when you need to understand how you're making money, if you're losing money, how to track the profit, all that funky stuff. It's a bit boring, but it's a very, very, very important system to have for any business, if you're big or small. If you buy something for £30 and then sell it for £60, there's no guarantee you made £30 profit. You need to take into account if you've paid any marketing, if you've paid in Instagram, take into account your time, take into account fees, the shipping, if it's free shipping or not, cleaning cost, repairs cost, any other stuff like that. And the biggest thing when it comes to the money, you need to reinvest it. When I was like 16 years old, I had one rule. I was making so much cash, I could look like an absolute baller. And when I mean so much cash, I mean I was probably making £800, £900 a month, which was really, really little for an adult now, someone who's like 10, 11 years older than that. But at the time, that was huge though. I was probably making like £1.5 a month. But I had one rule, one sale a day. And as soon as I made that sale, I reinvested it into something that also I knew was going to make me profit. I was obviously making more than one sale, but the bare minimum was one sale a day. It goes buy, improve, sell, reinvest. Go again. Then we have social media. The power of social media when reselling is probably my biggest USP. It's something that has completely reinvented and changed my business. Now, you don't necessarily need it. However, it is the best leverager you can have in this game. You ultimately are a book of knowledge, and that book you want to give away for free. This is why I will maybe someday release some kind of guide or course, but at the moment I haven't done it because my social media relies on free tips, free information. I used to make content on what I bought, why I bought it, how much I was going to make on it, why the item's good, why the item's real, how it's authentic, how it's fake, how I can spot a fake, how to legit check, all these random things. I just give out all this free information to my audience, and ultimately I then built an audience that trusted me, and then as a result of that trust, they wanted to buy from me. They actually believed that I was legit and authentic because they saw the process and the journey. Document what you're doing, learn how to make videos, learn how to edit, use CapCut, guys. It's so freaking easy. There is no excuse to not make content. Put your face on the internet. If you are doing this reselling game, it will separate you massively from everyone else. Systems and people. Eventually, you're going to grow and you're going to have problems. You're going to need help doing the photos, doing the listings, messaging, customer service, the packing, authentication, sourcing, all that funky stuff. You are eventually going to realize that you've done really, really well to get to a point, but you can't progress further just with you. You need help. When I was younger, I used to basically hire my buddies to help me out. One of the best tips I can tell you is learn all the jobs, figure out what jobs amongst this reselling game you're good at, figure out what ones you're bad at, outsource the ones you're bad at, do the ones you're good at. I do content, buying, that's about it. I do some authentication as well, but we pay for authenticity platforms. We employ 1 or 2 people for authenticity, depending how busy we are. I have an operations manager. I have a co-founder who does all the business stuff because I suck at that. We then have accountants who liaise with her. There is a full operation. It's ridiculous, to be honest. It's massive, purely because it gives me more time to focus on doing the stuff I'm good at, which ultimately generates me more profit. Again, you don't have to focus on this now, but eventually when I was a few years older from when I started, I had to start thinking about this stuff. One big question is, how does it actually scale? How how do you progress into this becoming a full-time thing? When do you quit your full-time job? When do you leave your job? When do you leave your part-time job? When's it part-time versus full-time? When is it a side hustle, or when can you actually like do it as a job basically? And how do you make more money? Well, look, Kicksforce started pretty basically. Me and my girlfriend Meg were selling used shoes from my flat. Before that, it was just me solely selling pre-owned streetwear. Then in, 3 or 4 years ago, we made it into a proper business. When we first started Kickstarter, we were making 10 to 15% profit on each item, which was really, really quite low, but we were building the audience and the trust. Then we would get to the point where we would do weekly drops on a Sunday afternoon. We would drop the shoes on the website and they would probably sell out within an hour, and we would do a few £1,000s in revenue, which was amazing at the time. Now we obviously do that every single day, but back then it was like, wow, this is insane. What is going on? We've got a great model here. But this whole process taught me the biggest scaling lesson I learned, and I always remind myself of this. When one thing works, don't treat it like luck. You need to retest and test and test again, and if it keeps working, lean into it. We sold on Vinted, Depop, and eBay. We then did a website drop. We then started realizing the website and people liked our own website, and we started making more money on our own individual platform. So we eventually moved to the website. We then started doing live selling. Now we do more live selling because it can be profitable, but most importantly, it's really engaging and it's very trendy in the industry right now. If it keeps working, lean into it, but test things, guys. Sometimes you need to lose a little bit of money and time to eventually make money. And finally, the blueprint. If I lost everything tomorrow, this is genuinely what order I would follow. And I've wrote this down for you guys. I would make one sale. I would then learn the market. I would then buy profitable stock, and I would reinvest. When you can't find enough stock on Vinted, or if it's becoming tricky, or you want to try something else, or it's taking too much time, you want to build and find the supply. Try wholesalers, try the Japan method. When work becomes too busy and you learn everything else, you want to start building systems. But also in this process, learn to take the best physical photo possible, because that is the best marketing you can ever do in this game. Start building attention, start doing some social media bits, start creating an audience, and when something starts outperforming everything else and you test, you try, double down on it, go harder, and ultimately build the company. The first sale I made never changed my life, but it gave me the belief and the satisfaction and understanding that eventually I could do this more. So don't finish this video and immediately watch another how to make money video in 2026. If you really want to get into reselling, pick the lane you want to go into, find the opportunity, learn about it, and go and make a sale. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe, drop a comment down below if you have any questions. This is the most information I've ever given a group of people and put it publicly out there about my reselling journey. It's a very brief overview of the exact blueprint. Please check out my channel for more in-depth things about suppliers, photos, anything else you need to know is all on my channel. I appreciate you guys. Good luck. Start now.